Before we get into the story, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment your prayers and support below for these players and their families. This is one of those moments where the sports world becomes something much deeper, something huge. Because right now, legendary South Carolina head coach Dawn Staley isn't drawing up plays. She isn't breaking down film. She isn't preparing for March. She's working urgently behind the scenes to bring 3 of her former players home from a conflict zone in Israel. Let that sink in. 3 former stars of the South Carolina Gamecocks, including WNBA veteran Tiffany Mitchell, defensive force Mikiah Herbert Harrigan, and dynamic guard Destiny Littleton, are overseas playing professionally. And as tensions escalated, air raid sirens began sounding. Missiles lit up the night sky. Shelters filled. Flights were disrupted, and thousands of miles away, their college coach stepped into action. This isn't just another headline. This isn't social media drama. This is real life. Real fear. Real urgency. And a coach who refuses to turn her back on players who once wore her jersey. So buckle up. Because what you're about to hear is a powerful story of loyalty, leadership, and a basketball family that doesn't break, even in the face of war. The basketball world stood still when news broke that Dawn Staley was working urgently behind the scenes to bring 3 of her former players home from Israel. What started as another overseas professional season for a handful of former South Carolina Gamecocks stars suddenly turned into a tense and frightening situation as conflict in the region escalated, air raid sirens began to sound, and American athletes found themselves sheltering from missile threats. For Staley, this wasn't just about basketball. It wasn't about championships, rankings, or recruiting. It was about family. Because once you play for her program at South Carolina, you're family for life. And when family is in danger, she moves. The 3 former Gamecocks caught in the middle of the escalating violence were Tiffany Mitchell, Mikiah Herbert Harrigan, and Destiny Littleton. All 3 had built impressive careers after college, continuing their professional journeys overseas in Israel's competitive women's basketball league. Overseas play is common for WNBA players and former college stars, especially during the offseason. It offers strong competition and significant financial opportunity. But what no one anticipates when signing a contract is becoming trapped in an active conflict zone. As tensions in the Middle East intensified, missile and drone exchanges escalated across parts of Israel. Cities that once felt routine and safe for international athletes quickly became unpredictable. Sirens interrupted daily life. Shelters became part of the normal routine. Flights were disrupted. Security warnings increased. And thousands of miles away in Columbia, South Carolina, Staley was watching it unfold in real time. She didn't wait. Staley took to social media, urging prayers for her former players and confirming that efforts were already underway to get them home safely. She described them as being in a war zone. It was a message filled with urgency but also steady leadership. That's who she has always been, calm in crisis, protective over her players, and relentless when it comes to doing what's right. Destiny Littleton gave the world a glimpse of what that reality looked like on the ground. From Jerusalem, she posted video showing sirens blaring and people scrambling toward shelters. You could hear the tension in her voice. You could see the uncertainty. Bomb shelters filling. Teammates gathering together for safety. Moments where the only option was to wait and hope the interception systems did their job. For fans watching from afar, it was chilling. For Staley, it was personal. Tiffany Mitchell, a former SEC Player of the Year and longtime pro, has faced pressure in championship games and on the Olympic stage. But nothing prepares you for the unpredictability of military escalation around you. Mikiah Herbert Harrigan, known for her defensive intensity and toughness on the court, suddenly had to apply that resilience in a very different environment, one where the stakes were far beyond basketball. Overseas leagues are tight-knit communities. American players lean on each other. They share apartments, rides, meals, and support systems far from home. When conflict breaks out, that bond becomes even stronger. Reports indicated that several American women's basketball players were in Israel at the time, not just the former Gamecocks. But it was Staley's public statement that ignited national attention. Behind the scenes, situations like this often involve coordination between agents, league officials, team management, and sometimes even diplomatic channels. Travel routes may close. Commercial flights may be suspended. Evacuation requires timing, security clearance, and careful planning. It's not as simple as booking the next flight out. What makes this story powerful isn't just the geopolitical backdrop. It's the loyalty. Staley's relationship with her players doesn't end when they graduate. She attends their WNBA games. She celebrates their overseas contracts. She mentors them through professional transitions. And in moments of fear, she shows up just as fiercely as she does on the sideline during March Madness. The South Carolina community rallied instantly. Fans flooded social media with prayers and messages of support. Former players reached out. The Gamecock family mobilized emotionally, even as logistics remained uncertain. There's something uniquely strong about the culture Staley built: accountability, love, protection, and empowerment. That culture doesn't stop at the border. For the players themselves, every passing hour likely felt longer than a fourth quarter in a tied Final Four game. Waiting for updates. Monitoring security alerts. Coordinating with teammates. Communicating with loved ones back home. In moments like that, leadership matters. Knowing someone powerful and respected is advocating for you matters. Staley's voice carries weight nationally. She is not just a championship coach. She is one of the most influential figures in women's basketball. When she speaks, administrators, media members, and officials listen. Her public confirmation that a plan was in motion reassured many who were worried. It signaled that this wasn't being ignored. It was being handled with urgency. The broader context only intensified the anxiety. Escalations between nations create ripple effects. Airspace restrictions tighten. Travel advisories change overnight. Communication lines can become strained. For professional athletes far from home, that instability is magnified. And yet, amid uncertainty, there were signs of strength. Social posts from the players suggested they were finding safe shelter when needed. Teammates stayed together. Communities supported one another. Israeli defense systems intercepted incoming threats. Life, though disrupted, continued cautiously. Back in South Carolina, the waiting game continued. There's a unique helplessness in being thousands of miles away from people you care about during a crisis. But if there's one thing Staley has never been, it's passive. Whether advocating for equity in women's sports or guiding young women through personal adversity, she is proactive. This moment added another chapter to her legacy, not defined by trophies, but by humanity. The basketball world has seen coaches celebrate wins, argue calls, recruit five-star prospects, and cut down nets. But seeing a coach step into crisis management mode to protect former players overseas reveals something deeper. It shows the real impact of leadership. It shows what family truly means in college athletics. As evacuation plans continue to develop and officials monitor the situation, one thing remains clear: those players are not alone. They have an entire university, a fan base, and one of the most respected coaches in the sport fighting to bring them home safely. In sports, we often talk about culture, about sisterhood, about bonds that last forever. This is what that looks like when it's tested. Not just hugs after a win. Not just speeches in a locker room. But action when it matters most. The final buzzer hasn't sounded on this situation yet. But if history tells us anything about Dawn Staley, it's this: she doesn't quit until her team is safe. And right now, her team stretches across continents. As this situation continues to unfold, one thing is absolutely clear: this is more than a basketball story. It's about leadership. It's about loyalty. And it's about a coach who refuses to stop fighting for her players, no matter where they are in the world. Dawn Staley has built championships at South Carolina. She's built legends. But most importantly, she's built family. And when former stars like Tiffany Mitchell, Mikiah Herbert Harrigan, and Destiny Littleton needed support the most, she didn't hesitate. We'll continue to monitor updates and bring you the latest developments as efforts to bring them home move forward. Our thoughts remain with the players, their families, and everyone affected. If you believe in standing with athletes beyond the court, take a moment right now to like this video, subscribe for continued updates, and comment your support below. Your engagement helps keep these stories visible and keeps the spotlight where it belongs. This is bigger than the game. And we'll be right here with you every SC.